Hello, this is the second video for your study guide. So I'm going to go through questions. It looks like 12 through 22. Okay, so for these, you're just solving the system. Please remember not to use Desmos. So for this one, it's very close to having a zero pair. If I multiply this by 2, I get 10x minus 6y equals 20. And then if I add these two up together, I get 0x or 0, and then 0, and then 0. So essentially I get this. Remember, if you get everything cancels out and you have the same number on both sides, that means that the lines are the same. So all real numbers are infinitely many solutions. Okay, for this one, I'm going to multiply the top by -3 to get it to cancel out with a positive 3x above it. So -3x plus 6y equals -15. I'm going to go ahead and rewrite my other equation underneath it, just so it's a little bit easier. You want to make sure, that they stack on top of each other, the x's and the y's. So that's going to be 0, 6y minus -5 is just 1y or y, and then 15 and -15 and 3. 13 is -2. All right. I'm actually going to plug it in the second equation because x is almost by itself. So -2 equals 5, and then that would be x plus 4 equals 5, minus 4 on both sides, so x is equal to 1. All right, and the last one of solving systems, as it is, it's kind of not in a good place as far as nothing is easily canceling out. So we're going to actually have to multiply both of them. I'll multiply the first one by maybe -3, and the second by 2. That way I know my x's will cancel out. So that's going to be -6x minus 9y equals -21. And the second one will be 6x plus 8y. You, of course, could pick different numbers. You could get the y's to cross out. It doesn't really matter. You could do -4 and 3, 4 and -3. It's just like, a ton of options. So then the x's cancel, and I'm left with -1y equals -1 when I add them up, and so y is therefore equal to 1. So you get 2x plus 3 times 1 equals 7. So 2x plus 3 equals 7 minus 3, and therefore x is 4. So my whole order pair is 4, 1 for that one. All right, on to linear inequalities. So for the first one, we're going to start, it's already solved for y, so we can start at the y-intercept, -4. I'm going to go up 2 over 3, up 2 over 3. It's going to be a dashed line because it's not equal to. And because it's greater, I'm going to shade above the line. So any point up here would work. All right. Y is less than or equal to 2. That's going to be a solid line. And remember, y equals is a flat line. So it's going to be solid on -2. Oh, wait, whoops. It's a positive 2. It's going to be solid on a positive 2. And then it says less than or equal to, so I'm going to shade underneath because it's less than. All right, writing the inequality. So for this one, I'm just going to write the line first. So these look like two good points. That's a slope of -3, and then plus 4. And it's going to be equal to, because it's a solid line. This one's really steep, so it's kind of hard to tell if it's above or below. But if you look here at the y-intercept, it's shading above it. It's all up there, so that way I know it's greater than. Okay, the system. All right, so for this one, we're going to graph both of them. I'm going to get y by itself, so I'm going to subtract 6 on both sides. And my slope's a -1, so I'm just graphing that. It's going to be a solid line, and it's going to shade underneath it because it's less than or equal to. So it's shading under the line. Any point down here is going to work. And then the other line I'm going to do in pink, x is greater than 1. So x equals 1 is this line here. It's going to be a dashed line because it's not equal to. and greater than, so it's going to be over here. So when they talk about the solution, we're actually going to be talking about I'm going to just, oops, there you go. I'm just going to like leave what's the solution. It's just that overlapping region where there's blue and pink shading. Oops, that was a little too far. There it is. So it's just that region there. And I'm not going to get super close in, but you know, it's the little bit to the left is shaded, which isn't true. Okay, so which one are solutions? So let's check them. -3, 2, that's no, because that would be here. -3, 2, that's a no. 2, -3, so 2, -3, that's a yes. Looks like here. 1, 4, 1, -4, no, because it's on the dash line. It can't be, it has to be on a solid boundary line. 4, -3, yes, that's like down here somewhere. That's good. -3, 4, that's definitely not. That's like all the way up there. Well, it's sitting 3, 5, but. And then 3, 2, that's a yes. And then 2, 4 is a yes because it's on the solid line. Okay, so select the order pairs that are part of the system. The easiest way to do this is to plug in points and check them. So if I plug this in for X and Y, so that's going to be 2, that's going to be 6 is greater than 6. That's not true. All right, so moving on to the next one. They have to work for both. So 10 is greater than 1/2 times 4 plus 4. That's like 10 is greater than 6, so that works for the first one, and then we'll check the second one. So 10 is less than or equal to 3 times 4 minus 2, which is 12 minus 2, which is 10. So that works because that's 10 is less than or equal to 10. So you're just basically plugging them in and checking. 10 is greater than 1/2 times 10 plus 4. That's not true. Let's see, -2 is greater than 1/2 times 0 plus 4. Also not true. That would be -2 is greater than 4. I'm thinking it's the last one. Maybe not because it is this. So like which ones select. So that's going to be 10. That's true for the first one. And 15 is less than or equal to 3 times 20 minus 2. That's definitely true because that's 58. All right, so it's the second and the last one. Okay, and then graphing systems for this one. I'm just going to solve for y real quick for the first. It's going to be -x plus 5. And I'm going kind of fast. The school's starting soon. This is a dash line. I'm going to shade above, so anywhere up here. And then the second line, if I subtract x on both sides, and then don't forget when you divide by -2, 1/2 x minus 4. So there's your solution set. It's like right there in that region. Okay, getting to the end. All right, -2. So I'm going to graph the first one, up 1 over 2, up 1 over 2, up 1 over 2. So it's a solid line. And it's shaded above because it's greater. And the second one starts at 6. And you go down 3 over 2. And that one's a dash line, shaded under. So under is this way. So the actual solution set is like all this right here. That's where the points work. And on this part of the blue line. Okay, the last one is a word problem. So Nick has both a project in his science class and a project in his art class due tomorrow. He has less than 10 hours left. Let X to represent the time he spends on a science project, and Y to represent the time he spends in the art. So we know when we add them together, we have less than 10 hours. So if you remember back in our notes, we did a problem like this, but essentially you can use intercepts. And actually with the shading on this one, you can actually get the answer immediately. The only one that has less than, which is under the graph and a dotted line, is B. But just to show you, you could also find your intercepts. Like if you take the y out, you have x is equal to 10. If we make x 0, the y is equal to 10. And those are your intercepts here. So you could find it that way as well. All right, thanks for watching.